What is up everyone? Welcome back to another video on TPL Locs. Today we are reviewing someone who again has been requested by some of you in the comments. If you have other suggestions for future episodes, leave them in the comments below. Today we are reviewing Whoopi Goldberg. Caryn Elaine Johnson, also known as Whoopi Goldberg, was born in November 1955. She's an American actor, comedian, author, and TV personality. She's been nominated for many Emmy Awards, and she's one of the few entertainers who have won both an Emmy Award, a Grammy Award, an Academy Award, and a Tony Award. She's the second Black woman to win an Academy Award for acting. So her breakthrough role was in 1985 for the role on The Color Purple, directed by Steven Spielberg. You might also know her from Sister Act, from Girl Interrupted, and currently she is a moderator on a talk show, The View. Let's review her locks. So we are going to start with her locks in 1985, or rather, she didn't have any locks. This is her in the movie The Color Purple. And as you can see, she doesn't have locks here yet. She does have her natural hair pattern. It doesn't look like she used anything chemically to either straighten her hair or relax her hair, but she has, I think those are twists or braids that she's wearing. So here you can get a good feel of what her natural hair texture is like. Then in 1987, you see her here with a very interesting hairstyle because her hair in the front they look like short locks, and then the hair in the back is quite a bit longer. She kind of has a braid mullet going on, if I can say so. But what is interesting about this picture is that I don't know if these are locks yet. They look like braids that she has left in for a long while. And in the back, she has braided fake hair into her own hair to have braids in the back. And I'd say they are still braids in the front, but they are starting to look like locks. 1988. Here we can see that she has the same hairstyle. The back is longer and the front is shorter. This was from a movie as well. I think it's called Telephone. And I think if I look at this picture, the previous picture, she decided to get locks because she started out with braids. Those started to kind of form their way into dreadlocks, and now these do look like dreadlocks to me. 1991, here she is with straight hair. So what's interesting is that for multiple roles in movies, she obviously had to have different hairstyles, and for most of them, I think they used either wigs or some kind of weave to not show her own dreadlocks. Then in 1991, which is the same year, she won an Academy Award, and as you can see, her hair does look like she's rocking freeform locks. So her roots are not really locked yet, but if you look at the sides here and also on the other side, I think she is starting locks. It could also be the case that she just braided in fake hair in the back and also in the front, and she just pulled it back. It's quite hard to see from this picture alone, but I know that she does eventually form locks. So that's why I'm saying these look like freeform locks to me. This is her in 1992, and she is rocking an afro, and I think she used some relaxers or something that was really hip in the 90s. I used to have a relaxer, so the hair kind of looks a little bit less curly and a bit more straight. And again, it's not that clear if this is her own hair or her locks are buried under a wig, but it's interesting to show you as well what hair she had during different roles in film. 1993, these absolutely look like locks to me. So that makes me, again, think back at the previous picture and say it's probably a wig or some type of weave. She's always been a big fan of braiding hair into her own hair, and we can see that in this picture as well. And her other locks, these kind of look like semi-freeform locks to me. Semi-freeform is where your locks do kind of have that wild look, that untamed look, but the separations are clearly visible, and you can see that there's a clear maintenance going on, because otherwise you'd have locks that kind of look like Bob Marley's, which is really wild and untamed. 1994, here again you can see that she loves to have her roots really loose. If she would retwist her hair, her roots wouldn't look like this. In 1995, I think her locks are starting to mature, and the reason I say that is because if I compare the thickness of these locks right here with the locks in the previous pictures, they look way denser to me. And after I think about a year or maybe 2 years, your locks have become way more dense, and then they start to grow. They don't really have to mature that much anymore. So I think at this point she had mature locks. And just as a disclaimer, we can't be sure about any of the styles because many people have used fake locks and weaved that into their own locks, and they look so real. So in my opinion, these look real to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if she did use some kind of technique to make her locks longer. 1995, if we compare this to this, you can see that I'm not sure. They could be longer in the previous picture than here. So that's what I mean by we can't really be sure what she did with her hair. Anyways, 1995, you can clearly see in her locks the texture of something that looks like a braid or something that looks like yarn around her lock. It doesn't look to me like it's something that happened naturally. Something was going on before the process of locks that makes them look like this. But anyhow, in 1995, she was one of the, or maybe the only woman in Hollywood with this hairstyle, with locks. So I think that is very cool. It's taken me a long time to review Whoopi Goldberg, but she's truly one of the pioneers when it comes to locks in entertainment. 1999, this is a picture from the movie Girl Interrupted, and I believe she played a nurse in that movie. And again, if you look at this, you think this is her own hair. She has an afro going on. This looks like her hair texture, but her hair is really short, so that would mean that she cut her locks. In 2002, we see her here with locks again. Now this picture is a bit dark, so it's not really easy to see, but the blonde parts in her hair clearly don't look like her own hair. So I think again, she used other hair to braid into her own hair, or this looks like yarn locks where you twist yarn around your own hair. And it could very well be that she did cut her hair but had her locks reattached. Some people do that as well, or she got very convincingly real fake locks. I'm not sure. 2002, again, these locks look very real to me, so we keep going back and forth between different hairstyles. What I do see here is that she has used something around the ends of the dreadlocks that looks like rubber bands or something to keep the ends together, so there is some maintenance going on. And again, you can very clearly see the texture of the lock that looks like it was either braided before or yeah, some other interesting technique to use to get locks. 2006, this is up close. We can see that she has some of that gray locks going on, and you guys know me, I love gray locks. We're gonna do a lock episode on just gray locks very, very soon. She's getting gray hair, and I think gray hair and locks go very well together. You can see that something is wrapped around her lock here. It looks like, I don't know, it doesn't look like rubber bands to me. I'm not sure, but she has some crazy, it looks like wire to me. I'm not sure. What do you think happened to her hair? What she's doing to her hair? I'm not familiar with this technique of maintaining your locks. Anyhow, you can see that she has quite thin locks here. And if you look at the pictures that I showed you from the 80s, they look way more freeform. So she did move on from a more freeform, untamed hairstyle to now that classic retwisting or semi-freeform style of dreadlocks. 2006, this was a big change for her locks because as we saw in the previous picture, she had long, well-kept locks, but now she cut a huge portion of her locks off. This looks like a bob length to me, and she got an undercut. and the undercut is really cool as well. It looks so awesome, especially on women, on men as well, but women don't often choose this type of hairstyle, and it suits her very well. So you can see the gray on her head, and yeah, I think she got yarn locks or some other type of faux locks. Maybe her hair was thinning, maybe her hair was breaking. If you've had locks for a long time, these things can happen. Now, I've seen multiple discussions of people on if they like it that she changed from having her own locks to having faux locks. I know many of you are not a fan of faux locks, so let me know in the comments below what you think of the fact that she moved on from having those manicured, retwisted, or maybe semi-freeform locks to faux locks, because it does look like a solution for having more different types of hairstyles, and people after a while they become bored of having the same hairstyle over and over. Or do you think, no, we should keep locks as they are, and we should take an example in Lil Wayne? 2016, again, it looks like she has a different style of fake locks. So she probably has the yarn locks, and then she switches between different types of faux locks from time to time. And if you want to see what she looks like now, you can go and look at her as a moderator on The View. That's a talk show. You can find it on YouTube as well. But I think it's cool. I think it's cool that she still kind of kept the lock hairstyle, but she doesn't cut them just because she's sick of it or because they start to break.